is more aggressive, so there's more attack benefits there, and of course the arbiters they have commercial benefits.
So once you align with a faction, you have your guild, and you align with a faction, you will have access to, imagine all three, you will have access to all three factions, ships, upgrades, abilities, benefits, bonuses, passives, actives. And then once you align yourself with a guild who's aligned with a faction, you can unlock the final third of that faction. So you will be aligned to a faction, and that's how guilds are going to work in Echoes.
So ships, we got to talk about ships, right? We talked about them a little bit yesterday. Gameplay footage. I'll come back to ships for a second.
Ships first.
All right, ships. So there are capital ships. You've seen a few of them yesterday. They're big and massive. The drop is going to happen a little bit later. Not today. That's all I guess we can say. But we talked about them being indestructible, right? Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. So the capital ships are at the heart of every fleet. So you'll have multiple fleets, and each fleet slot will need a capital ship. And that capital ship will allow you to have fleet ships, attack craft, the stuff I mentioned yesterday. So you will fill the slots in the capital ship with these fleets of ships that you unlock from the different factions that you use resources and the dust token to build, and then you'll take those into battle and you'll fight. But assume that you lose a battle, your ship will be heavily damaged and your fleet slots will empty. All those ships will be destroyed, but you never lose the NFT capital ship. The capital ship goes back to your base and you repair it, and then you upgrade it, and then you equip it with more ships and you send it back out.
The gameplay footage, going to the next question, the gameplay footage can be found on Echoes of Empire website. And also there should be a screen somewhere actually showing some of it. I'm not sure if it's here or somewhere else, so it's a good opportunity to walk around, but we should have, if you can't find it here, you can find it definitely on Echoes of Empire website. So, yeah. Mike, do you want to talk a little bit about the core? Like what the core? It's exciting. We haven't really talked about it much, right?
The core. Okay, yeah, sure. Let's talk about the core. Why not? So, in Echoes of Empire, there's House Space. House Space is where you start the game. It's all PvE, a tutorial area where you'll be introduced to the 3 different factions, and then there's the 3 clusters. That's where the grand majority of NFT land claims are at, and that's the ones that everybody has participated in so far. Then there's the core. Now the core only has one claim in it called the Ascendant Ancient, or the Ascendant, and then it is a focus for PvP and guilds combat. So you have the core, which has I'm trying to think what I can and can't say. Monoliths that players will fight over and guilds will fight over, resources that only guilds could use in the core. So there's a whole Elder game PvP gameplay element to the core that we'll talk more about in the future. Okay, I probably wasn't supposed to talk about the Ascendant Ancient. I did say yesterday there were 13 Ancients, and I did say that there was 4 to a cluster, 1 per zone, and someone did say, wait a minute, that math doesn't make any sense. And it's like, well, there's the Ascendant Ancient.
There's one more.
There's that one, right? But it is an Ancient, so. We, as game developers, depend on Gala's ability to understand the space for pricing and releases and stuff. They know more about this than we ever will. So we're very much partnered in that. So when and how much, I don't know if
well, it'll be announced.
It'll be announced. I'm gonna date myself here, but I'm a giant Captain Kirk fan. Oh, yeah.
I would say worse. For me, it's worse. Yeah. The question is if you like Star Trek or.
I actually do imagine you sometimes, Yuri, dressed up as. It's as weird as it sounds. Yeah, I do. I do imagine.
You go on.
I do. I imagine you kind of in that Luke Skywalker outfit. I feel like you're
Luke Skywalker. That's pretty good. Leasing mines to players.
Leasing mines to players. So each individual NFT land claim has a maximum amount of mines that it can be upgraded to have, and then those mines have upgrades. And then when you have it all maxed out, you will have a maximum amount of leases that you can give to a player. So let's say, I'm just going to make numbers up so we're not talking about any individual NFT, but let's say that you have a land claim that has 10 mines fully upgraded, and then you have 10 leases per mine fully upgraded. So you'd have 100 people at your claim, and they would be mining, they would have fleets there to defend themselves. Again, the more people that are at your claim, the more you can incentivize people to come with a low tax rate for resources, the better it's protected. You will interact with it. Imagine if there's 100 fleets and ships and all that stuff at your giant planetoid, we do it in how we list the ships out that you can actually target who you want to target. But anyway, you will lease them to the players. You can kick someone off a lease if you don't want them on your lease. After it expired, you will have players kicking up a amount of resources over a period of time. So you may lease it out for 24 hours, and then they will be constantly putting in resources into the pot.
Well, let's talk about the celestial objects a bit more. Again, the folks have seen them. We talked about the ancients. So the whole idea that every tier of celestial objects, brings the next level of utility, right? That's something that folks need to understand. There is a reason why uncommon is the way it is, and there is a reason why the rare and the legendaries bring more utility. So not only, I think a few of you on Discord have seen some numeric values associated with each celestial object, but the number of mines, that's part of it. What we're also is going to happen in the game is that you have a tech tree associated with each celestial object. It's not just you get the celestial object and that's it, you're done, right? Come back every day and click on it. There's stuff, it's a game, right? So there's stuff that you do there that make it more valuable to anybody who interacts with it.
No, that's fair. I think it's important to call out that the idea is you can have a celestial claim and you can open it up for business, and players can come and they can say, hey, I want to lease your mine, and you have a tax rate associated with it, and you're like, hey, this is what it is. If you want to lease it, just lease it. And if you don't upgrade it, you will receive the least amount of resources. There won't be any protection against players and NPC raiders.
Tied to the tier, yes, but still, yeah.
So it will behoove you to upgrade it. They will be looking for people who have upgraded mines and leases, who have competitive tax rates, who have fleets parked there to defend against those NPC and PvP raiders. So there's a whole ecosystem to each individual claim, which is actually very interesting because this is it is a 4X game. This is a grand strategy game. So
I like the question about fleets came about. So it's worth talking about it. So we're not going to announce exact quantity of fleets you're going to have as a player just yet, but I think understanding how fleets are structured is important. So yesterday you heard me talk about capital ships and support ships. So that's the structure. So if you want to think about it, the anchor of your fleet is the capital ship. And then the support ships are there to support it. But there's also a layer above it, which is the admiral of that fleet, which is a separate avenue of progression. And there are many different types of admirals you could get, and some will work very well with a specific capital ship, and some may not. So you get to choose, and this is where it becomes really strategic. We should. One thing I want to reinforce again: it's the grand strategy. It's not micromanagement. You make strategic choices within the fleets, within the support ships, within the admirals that you have associated with those fleets.
So I'm going to grab something you said there and go a little bit more in depth. So the admiral that Yuri's talking about is what I mentioned yesterday, where you will build, you will recruit and train a host of heroes, and those heroes will be able to plug into either your ship or certain facilities. Like you have a home base that has all these facilities that will craft ships, and you can research technology, make blueprints, and you will have heroes that you can plug in that will passively or actively affect those numbers. So there's a whole system, and yes, some of the heroes will be NFTs, some of them will just be ones you can earn by doing quests and content. So there'll be a balance of all those things. Some of the admirals are NFTs, some of the capital ships are NFTs, but they're all, like when you start the game, free-to-play player coming to the game is going to start with the basic capital ship. Everybody's going to get a basic home base, a basic capital ship. You will upgrade your fleet slots to unlock new slots so you can put in new capital ships. As Yuri said, it's the grand strategy aspect of it. There's a lot of things to do, just not micromanaging combat, things like that.
Yeah, so just to reiterate that point, some admirals are going to be NFTs.
So I want to answer the one about owning a planet before you go into the EOE art style, because I'll never get another chance to talk after that. So is there another way to earn other than owning a planet? So there are 6,300 celestial land claims in the game, and the only way you can earn resources from all of those land claims, but you cannot get the distribution of dust anywhere else but those 6,300 celestial land claims. And dust, well, I mean, we've talked about that in the past as well. That kind of powers everything past a certain tier, again, because you want to onboard people, you want to kind of get them from that free-to-play experience to that transitionary experience into the roles that all of you play right now with the NFTs and the claims. But the idea being is you will get basic progression to a point, but then after that, dust is used for everything. It's used for fast travel, it's used for upgrading all of your most powerful ships and your heroes and your home base. So there is no other way to get a distribution of dust other than owning a celestial land claim.
Maybe on the art style, thank you for the kind words. I feel like I might repeat a little bit of what I've said yesterday on the stage, but so for those of you who are there, apologies, but it's the hybrid of Art Deco and Art Nouveau art styles, carefully crafted for a truly memorable experience. So we, maybe just to stay on that point for a second, if you just Google any other space 4X, you will see a lot of hexagons and a lot of purple, right? And we wanted to get away from that. We wanted to be a truly, truly memorable experience. So we keep pushing the envelope, and we keep making it more iconic. But that's the ultimate goal. That when you see this game, there's no other game like it. So thank you for that question.
Okay, so is there any information on ROI of the claims? The information that you've seen in the claims so far that's been on the website, where you can see you've seen some of the data, which is the base. There's a base of 2 mines, max of 3, base of this many leases, max of 4, that kind of information, and that each individual tier, as you increase, will have an increased repository and increased rate of earning basic resources. look for, like you want the full boat, look for that information in the first of the year. We have the information, we know what it is, but we're currently balancing it, so we're going to make sure we're not going to hand out information that we'd have to walk back after we do it. So we want to be able to put it out there and commit to it, but right now we're balancing it. Because again, because we saw such a crazy good amount of interaction and people wanting to get involved with the game, and the land claims so much interactivity with the situation, we just need to make sure that it's balanced. We're doubling down on the balance. We'll release something in the first of the year.
Do you want to take this one? I know you have a favorite.
Oh, I can tell you this. Yuri was constantly playing 4X games. Every other day he'd come back with another. Check this one out. Look at what this one's doing. So please.
Yeah, for sure. I think as some of the questions came up, we talked about the celestial objects. We saw them on the big screen yesterday. There will be other points of interest on the tactical map, things that you can interact with. So when your fleet moves around, it isn't just, oh, it's a planet, it's a planet, it's a planet. There's truly more stuff around that you'll get to see, and of course, where this is not the first 4X that has a very interesting and rich tactical map, and we've played quite a few and took inspiration from quite a few. I think I would reserve myself from listing them, but of course the inspiration comes from many places. There's a question, when can we expect the beta? Super excited for the game, great question.
So, again, I'll say, this is a small room full of people, we got nothing to talk about but these questions. I want to get people in earlier than the beta that we pick from the Discord. So the reason why is we get a lot of great feedback from the Discord, right? And a lot of very intelligent suggestions, and I want to start working on this idea of I want to say a player council, but this idea of getting players in early to give us feedback on the different modules of gameplay before we actually go to beta. But I'm hell-bent to leather to get butts in the game Q2 of this year coming up, right? But it could be sooner than that. It just depends on how we modularize. It depends, but Q2 is what I'm trying to get people in.
Well, and an important thing to note is that the folks who own celestial objects will get early access, right? So you will have time to go out and claim a planet or any other celestial object that you like.
And again, guilds. So when we talk about the guild situation, and people are already forming guilds on Discord, there's a lot of, and those folks are going to get access. I've seen the spreadsheet. They have they know what they have, where they have it, and I'm very interested to see how that looks on the secondary market when people start to trade NFTs back and forth. I'm really interested to see what happens with that when they say, oh, hey, we're going to be in the Pale. We all need to have resources in the Pale, and then there'll be I think a brisk business on the secondary market for those NFT land claims.
Yeah, you as a guild can make decisions whether or not you would all want to be physically as close together as possible on a tactical map, or if you want to spread out for some strategic reasons, right? So things will happen. There will be events that might encourage you to pick a different strategy from the one that you would pursue day to day.
So I'm just going to talk about that. I'm just going to talk about the strategy. So the idea being is your guild, if you accumulate all your guild mates and in a space all together, you'll have access to fleets that can back you up in combat. So you've seen some videos, and we'll be releasing more into the new year about how combat works in more detail, but combat happens asynchronously in the game, so everything's happening live. You're talking to your guild mates, you're talking to other players, you're mining, you're managing your claims, and then you may get scouted. So somebody sends a probe and you've been informed, hey, you were just probed. Yeah, you were probed. And then what ends up happening is you have time to respond to that. So you see that there's an enemy fleet incoming in 7 minutes. You hit your guild members up, you say, hey, I need reinforcements. They send a fleet of reinforcements to park at your home base to defend. So the fleet that they sent, sent to you to attack you, they send another probe, which I recommend before they get there. They see, oh wow, he's reinforced, I need reinforcements. So they'll hit their guild and say, I need 2 reinforcements to be able, so anyway.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, it's an absolute pleasure to be with you all today. If you haven't been to the Echoes booth, go check it out. Some goodies there. And yeah, if you see us, ask us questions.
Is that it?
Well, I think so.
All right, well.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, I haven't even...
Some folks got